Hey everybody, this is Let's Play 2025 June week 4, and I'm finishing up my block, this mini quilt this week. Here's where I'm starting. I have changed out the flowers, and these aren't basted yet, but they've got them pinned in place. I think I'm gonna like that. Here's what my plan is for this circle, a little pinwheel. It's just basted at the moment, but I'm going to do a running stitch around the edges. I didn't mention last week, but I got this basted down and I'm really pleased with how that's looking, so that's good. And in mentioning the rickrack for this, I did forget to say that I did do the blanket stitch on either side of that already, and now I just need to embellish the center, and I'm still not 100% sure which one I prefer. I don't know. I like them both. This one stands out more, but there's already a lot of yellow, so I'm still playing. Anyways, I will come back when I've made some more progress this week. Sharing progress. I went with the yellow rickrack. I decided the fact that it was standing out was the fact that it was standing out more than that lighter green one was actually, it made it work for me. But then on top of that, I'm decorating it with by wrapping it with some pearl cotton in this green. I will better stand up. You can see it there, and that's easy to do as long as you go in the same direction. So after I had the rickrack stitched down, using a blunt needle, I'm going under the rickrack, always in the same direction, so that it wraps like a barber pole, I guess. And as I've mentioned before, when I stitch rickrack down, I always do one stitch at the top and one stitch in the valley on both sides, and that's so, but that allows me to be able to put my needle under the rickrack from one side to the other so that I can pull it through like that. Okay. Then also, let me get this. Well, here's what I chose for the top. I have this nubbly yarn from way back when. It has nothing to do with quilting at all. And so I've decided I laid it under the trim, and I'm going to stitch the trim down so that the nubblies poke out. The nubbly yarn pokes out. Now I haven't stitched, I'm going to just stitch the end of the nubbly one here and here when I'm all done, but I've left a tail so that I can perhaps pull this out a little bit once I've stitched the points of the trim down. I like that. I was trying to think of a way I could make it into little bees, but I think that's a little much. And then I think I had that done the last time. Then the detail on here that I'm doing, let's see. Can you see that? I'm coming up just, let's go here. I'm coming up just a little bit into the white in the middle of that scallop. And then I'm taking 3 stitches, one straight up, and then coming back up in the same hole as the first time. Then I'm taking a stitch, a little stitch to the right, and then coming up that same hole again, and then taking a stitch a little bit to the left to make this little fan detail. And it's so subtle, but I really, really love it. So I'm going to do it on the other side as well. Yeah. And the button is still going there. I have a bead to put in the middle of it. And then here I'm going to do a running stitch across the top in the same gold pearl cotton as this. And then it'll all be finished, but I just thought I'd share with you the progress I was making thus far. To stitch down this vintage white trim with the yellow tulips and the yellow scalloped edges, I used a matching green embroidery floss, and I did a fan shape in each scallop up and down either side, and that additional detail just added so much more charm to this beautiful vintage trim. Here it is. I finished, and it looks different than I expected, because at the last minute I added something I didn't expect to add. But I really love this. I love everything. It's playful. The featured fabric isn't very large, but it's still here with the bees. So I got the pinwheel finished. I added all the trims. I did the little running stitch across there. And then when I was, if you look earlier in the videos, you know that this whole thing started with the hexie flower in a circle. That's where this whole idea started. But in the end, when I had the hexie flower in the circle, and even though it did look like a honeycomb, it was just this plain, dull blob of light yellow at the bottom. And it was, yeah, I wasn't 100% pleased with that. It wasn't enough. So that's when it occurred to me that I could add the flower in the hexie flower. So I took, before I stitched anything, I took my original drawing and drew a circle and a petal, and I made my template out of that drawing. And when I felt that is what I wanted to do, and I had chosen the right embroidery floss, I drew with my mechanical pencil all the petals, and then I chain stitched it the way I chain stitched the outer circle. And I think that, I love that daisy inside the hexie flower. I also added pistol stitches inside these flowers, which really popped them. And the button and the bead. Yeah, I'm pleased. I hope you enjoyed this yellow and green month with me. I am looking forward to next month again. Next month we're playing with red again, but with a second partner. All right. I love it. I hope you do too. If you did, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. Follow, like, all of that is very helpful to exposing me to other stitchers on YouTube, to maybe get them interested in this hand stitching fun. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.